أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أيها الإخوة والأخوات السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. First of all, I would like to express my high spirit and emotional state meeting you, especially that I realize that all of you are in the youth stage, which means I'm looking to the future, inshallah, the bright future of Malaysia. And there is a special bond between me and Malaysians. Since about 30 years or more, I had my relationship with Malaysians in Egypt, and I visit many times here. So I feel I am a Malaysian. And this is the feeling of any sincere Muslim, that when he meets his brothers and sisters, he feels the bond. The bond is higher, much higher than anything else. The bond of Ukhuwa Fillah is one of the basics of our Islam. I will start by giving a very brief about the circumstances in the last few months in Egypt and Syria and Libya and Yemen, a very brief one. I will just brief it as in points. Point number one, what happened in Egypt and the other countries, Arabic countries, are not Islamic revolution. I repeat, are not Islamic revolutions. It can be described as raising up against corruption, tyranny, dictatorism, but not Islamic. But of course, Ikhwan and Islamic movement shared a big share in these events. Point number two is that what is important is not the raising up or the revolution, as they sometimes call it. What is important is what exactly we want from this. How we are going to deal with the future. What are our aims? Islamic aims. These are the main points that really we should think about deeply in Egypt and in all these countries. Islam is not going on by just emotional state. No. Emotions are important, of course, but the intellect, the understanding gives us the view, gives us exactly what we want, how we are going to do what we want, the planning for this, the clear view, not to be manipulated by any means. So I'll quickly go to the challenges. The real challenges we are facing are new and old at the same time. Challenges never change in its sense. It changes in the shape only. So I will brief three main points in the understanding of Islam, which gives us a very clear idea about the problem of, or the challenge we are facing, and you are facing here in Malaysia. The first challenge is a simple question, a very simple question. What is Islam? If you ask any Muslim, any Muslim, he will say, I understand, I know the answer to this question. But in fact, you will find that most of them do not know what is Islam. They know only a part of Islam, only a slice of Islam, but they do not know what is Islam as a whole. Most of them. This is the first challenge. So, you may ask, is Islam aqidah? Or is it ibadah? You know ibadah? Worship for Allah, like praying and fasting and making umrah and hajj. Or is it hukm, ruling? Or is it politics, economy? Or is it jihad? Or is it amr bil ma'roof and nahi anil munkar? Or is it learning about Islam? Or is it a dhikr? Reading Quran and doing the dhikr? What exactly is Islam of these things? It is all these things together. And anyone who tries to take a part of Islam and leave the other parts, he doesn't understand Islam. He doesn't really understand Islam. That's why Al-Imam Al-Banna, in the 30s of the last century, when he began the Ikhwan Muslimin in Egypt, he made certain usul, basics for understanding Islam. Number one was concerning this point. We call it shumul, meaning almost a profound understanding of Islam, a global understanding of Islam. So in Islam there is a dhikr, there is ibadah, it is aqidah, yes, and it is jihad, and it is ruling. And he declared that ruling is something very essential in Islam. It's not something optional. Many ayat in Quran concentrate on this meaning. Many ayat. But I will refer quickly to 2 pages fronting each other in Surah Al-Ma'idah, in which the wording of the ayah is وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. At the end of these 2 pages, أَفَحُكْمَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ يَبْغُونَ وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حُكْمًا لِقَوْمٍ يُوقِنُونَ. And many other ayat concerning al-hukm, ruling with Quran is not only for Muslims. It has been an order for the Jews with Musa alayhi salam to applicate their own Torah. Isa alayhi salam was ordered, he and the Christians, to applicate al-Injil, the Bible. And Muslims were ordered to applicate al-Quran. So it is not only essential in Islam, it is essential in all messages from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Musa, Isa and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all of them have been ordered the same order. You have to rule with this book. You have to applicate it, all of it, in the life of people, of your followers. So this is a very essential point. That's why he said, Al-Imam Al-Banna, Al-Hukm, ruling, is considered one of the basics of Islam. Not only حكم فقهي, not only a matter of fiqh. No, it's a basic thing. It's something very basic in understanding Islam. What is the difference between someone who understands this understanding and someone who does not? The one who doesn't understand this, it will be enough for him to go to the mosque, pray, to read Quran, to have good manners, and that is, he is a good Muslim. That's it. So you go praise, and the anti-Islamic room, he go make Umrah, and the anti-Islamic make all the laws against Islam, and he is just sleeping, thinking that he is doing his best, and that is Islam. The other one who understands Islam clearly and profoundly, he knows that his job is not only to be a good person, a good Muslim. No, this is only a slice of it, only a part of it. He should build an ummah. He should rule with Quran. Of course, he cannot do this by his own. So he has to work with others in a group work that understands its way, what they want, how they are going to applicate this. They make da'wah, they make tarbiyah, as we are going, inshallah, in a few minutes. So they know exactly what they are doing and why they are doing this. They know their Islam very clearly, and that's why they are very much convinced with what they are doing now. So when Al-Banna talked about this first basic or asl, which would be abbreviated as a shumul, with profound understanding, this understanding is against, for example, the understanding of the secular inclination. For example, because the basic thing concerning the secular inclination is, or philosophy is, that Islam is at home and mosque. But in life, there's nothing called Islam. And this is anti-Islamic. This is against Islam. This is destroying the basics of Islam. That's why we will find always that people are manipulating our minds, trying to manipulate our minds, trying to play us. What is Islam? You're a good person. You pray, you do this. What do you want more? He is giving you an example like the Christian example in Europe, long time ago. Fight between science and religion, the mid-age, and then they came to a conclusion that religion is a personal thing. It's not for life, not for society. So this was the base of the secular system, the secular philosophy, which is now very much spreading in Islamic countries. And they want to convince us that this is the right thing to do. If we don't understand clearly, there will be a big problem. We will let them rule on their own interests and own philosophy, and Islam will just be a side. Beside this, which is a point of Sharia, it's very important, is that anyone who does not work for Islam, who does not understand Islam correctly and work to rule with Islam, to make Islam in life, he is gaining a lot of sin. You know sins? Ma'asiyah. a lot. Because God, Allah, who ordered us to pray, is God who ordered us to rule with Islam. God who ordered us with Hajj when we can, is God who ordered us to make jihad. It's the same source. So how can you select a part of Islam and neglect the other parts? That's why in Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, part of the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Do you believe in some parts of the book and you are kuffar by the other parts? Meaning you are not applying them, you are not convinced, you are selective. أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض فما جزاء من يفعل ذلك منكم إلا خزي في الحياة الدنيا ويوم القيامة يردون إلى أشد العذاب. So he mentioned in the ayah the punishment in al-dunya and in al-akhirah. So this understanding should be very clear in our minds. We must read Quran, understand everything in Quran and Sunnah very clearly, to know that Islam is not a partial thing, it's not a personal religion, it's an ummah religion. It's very important to know this, to understand this, to know the dalil. You know the dalil? Adillah? Dalil from Quran and Sunnah about what I'm saying in detail, so that you must be very clear how you are going to participate, how you are going to applicate Islam. After knowing, of course, what is Islam. That's why I'm saying this is the first challenge.